Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Hitmonchan, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Hitmonchan is a fighting-type Pokemon introduced into Generation 1 that has access to 3 abilities, the first of which being Keen Eye, which is an ability that prevents this Pokemon from having its accuracy lowered, as well as also allows it to ignore evasion boosts of its opponents. Its second being Iron Fist, which increases the damage of punching moves that this Pokemon has access to, and the third being Inner Focus, which is its hidden ability and allows this Pokemon to not be flinched. But because Keen Eye and Inner Focus are pretty situational, you're almost always going to be running Iron Fist on this Pokemon to increase its damage output with its punching moves. But stat-wise, this Pokemon is very interesting defensively, possessing a base 50 HP stat, which is fairly low, an alright base 79 defense stat, but a quite good base 110 special defense stat, which I always thought was very surprising about this Pokemon, but allows it to actually take special hits very well. On the offensive side of things, it has a great base 105 physical attack, a pretty poor base 35 special attack, which you're not going to be getting a ton of use out of, and an alright base 76 speed stat, which is not too fast, but also not too slow simultaneously, so it will allow it to outspeed a bunch of things, but it's not going to be one of the fastest Pokemon that you're going to be using on your team, especially as a fighting type. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to be running Hitmonchan as kind of a jack of all trades in being able to simultaneously dish out damage and also take special attacks as well. So we're going to start this one off by giving it an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack but lower its special attack, going with the Iron Fist ability, and then an EV spread of 216 HP EVs, 252 physical attack EVs to max that out, and then putting the remainder 40 EVs into its speed stat to allow this Pokemon to be able to outspeed base 80 speed Pokemon that it falls just short of outspeeding. And there also could be argument for putting even more EVs into this Pokemon just to make it even faster than this, but on a more tanky set like this, it's good to have the HP. And for the item on the set, we can either go with an Assault Vest to increase our special defense further while making it so that we cannot use any non-attacking moves, however this set isn't anyway, or running Leftovers on the set to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. But for the moves, the first one that we're going to be going with on the set is going to be Mach Punch, which is a move that is boosted by Iron Fist and actually allows this Pokemon to do some pretty significant damage as a priority attack, allowing it to actually be a pretty good revenge killer, even though this is not a set really investing too much into speed. But our main fighting type stab attack on the set is going to be Drain Punch, as this will simultaneously be boosted by Iron Fist and also be recovering HP while you damage your opponent, which can increase this Pokemon's sustainability throughout the battle even more so, along with the Leftovers or the Assault Vest item. Then, for your third option, we're going to go with either Ice Punch, Throat Chop, or Bullet Punch for coverage. And the cool thing about Ice Punch is that it just gives this Pokemon a great and reliable move to use against opposing flying types that resist your fighting type attacks, and also is just a great coverage neutral option in general that can just hit a lot of things for decent damage. But Throat Chop is actually a new addition to Hitmonchan's move pool, allowing it to actually damage ghost types for some super effective damage, being a dark type move, which it actually could not really do that well before, because one of the only dark type moves that it could really make use of was Pursuit, and that's obviously not that powerful in and of itself unless your opponent's switching out. But Bullet Punch is also there, can help deal with fairy types a little bit, even though it's not going to be the most powerful move, though it is boosted by Iron Fist, but it's also an additional priority option to go with as well if your opponent would be resisting Mach Punch, as this can allow you to hit something else for some pretty decent damage. But for the last move on the set, we're going to be going with Rapid Spin, because it's going to allow this Pokemon to spin away hazards on your side of the field, and work really well to obviously support your team and make it so that they don't take damage every single time they switch in, which is a great utility option on a Pokemon like this. And the cool thing about this also now is that you can actually run Throat Chop with Rapid Spin as a way to potentially damage the ghost type super effectively that would want to come in and block a Rapid Spin. But overall, this set just has a ton of utility, can do a ton of things, while also simultaneously being able to dish out some good damage and also tank some special hits pretty well. As for this next moveset, we're going to be running Hitmonchan in a more offensive way by seeking to boost its stats and power further. So we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, or an Adamant Nature to increase its physical attack but lower its special attack, going with the Iron Fist ability again, and then for the EV spread this time running 252 EVs into its physical attack, 4 into its defense, and 252 EVs into its speed stat to max out its physical attack and its speed. As for the item on this set, we're going to be going with a Life Orb to increase the damage of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage our opponents, and this will be very useful in just allowing us to squeak out some more damage to really hit things even harder than we were able to before. But for the moves in this set, the first one that we're going to be going with is going to be Agility, which is going to be boosting our speed stat by 2 stages, thus making Hitmonchan significantly more fast on the battlefield, and thus allow it to outspeed things it normally wouldn't be able to, and possibly set up for a sweep. Then, for its main stab attack on the set, we're going to go with either High Jump Kick, which this Pokemon learns, surprisingly, or Close Combat. And really, the debate here is, do you want to risk missing High Jump Kick because it has less accuracy, or do you not care as much about the physical defense or special defense drop that Close Combat provides, even though it's a little bit more of a weaker attack? And both of these work really well. They serve the same function, but it's really personal preference for whichever you want to go with. Then we're going to go with either Throat Chop or Thunder Punch in our second move slot, just for some more type coverage. Obviously, Throat Chop again being great against Ghost types, but Thunder Punch also being an additional option to use against Flying types, and gives you some pretty good neutral coverage overall, which can also be used in combination with Ice Punch in the third move slot to give you that kind of Bolt Beam physical combination, which you can't get otherwise. Then finally, we could also run Earthquake on the set just for additional type coverage, which can be very useful for allowing this Pokemon to net some KOs on things it wouldn't normally be able to, namely poison types that would be resisting your fighting type moves. As for this third move set, we're going to be running more of a bulky boosting set for this Pokemon to take advantage of. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Careful Nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack, going with the Iron Fist ability, and then an EV spread this time of 216 HP EVs, 252 special defense EVs to max that out, and putting the remainder 40 EVs into its speed stat like before, because this will allow this Pokemon to outspeed base 80 speed Pokemon by 2 points, which it just falls just short of outspeeding on its own. But for the item, we're going to be running Leftovers to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, which is going to be essential for allowing this Pokemon more sustainability while it attempts to set up, and also just more survivability overall, which is always good to have. But the boost move of choice on the set is going to be Bulk Up, which is going to increase our physical attack and our physical defense by 1 stage, which will make this Pokemon more physically offensive and also more physically bulky, which when coupled with its great special defense stat and our special defense investment on the set, will make this Pokemon very difficult to take out. And in addition to help this as well, we're going to again be running Drain Punch to give this Pokemon that really great, powerful stab fighting type move that will also be healing you back, making you have even more sustain throughout the battle. But for your coverage option, again we're going to choose between Ice Punch and Throat Chop like before for the different advantages both of these moves offer. And for the last move slot, having a little bit of flexibility here, running either Substitute or a priority punching move in Mach Punch or Bullet Punch. And Substitute is of particular note just because it allows the Pokemon to have that really great sub-bulk up combination while you get behind a protective barrier to shield you from attacks and statuses, and then make your substitutes more difficult to break as you attempt to set up and boost your stats this way. It can also be really good when used in combination with Drain Punch, because Drain Punch will actually be recovering a lot of the health lost from Substitute, so it's a really cool combination in and of itself. But Mach Punch and Bullet Punch can allow this Pokemon to have a little bit more offensive presence on a set like this, because it will be threatening its opponents with powerful priority moves, both of these moves again being boosted by Iron Fist, and Bullet Punch in particular, allowing this Pokemon to have a super effective move to use against potential fairy types it might be matched up against, which is a great option to consider on a more defensive bulk up set like this one. Finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to be running a choice set for Hitmonchan to take advantage of. And while I do know that this Pokemon on a Choice Scarf or Choice Banded set does face a lot of competition with many other fighting types, it still doesn't mean that this Pokemon doesn't have its own unique niche in being able to run one as well as a viable set. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Jolly Nature to increase its speed but lower its special attack, going with the Iron Fist ability, and then an EV spread of 252 attack, 4 defense, and 252 speed EVs to max out its physical attack and speed. And then for the item, like I mentioned before, running either a Choice Band to increase the power of all of your attacks while locking you into a move, or a Choice Scarf to increase your speed while locking you into a move. But for the moves, again, we're going to be going with pure power for our fighting type attack in the form of either High Jump Kick or Close Combat like before, just to give us our most powerful fighting type attack option, and then running either Throat Chop or Ice Punch for coverage, along with Thunder Punch, Earthquake, and also Mach Punch as a potential priority option as well to run on the set. And these moves, no matter what combination you use them in, will give this Pokemon a ton of versatility in what it's able to actually hit super effectively or for neutral damage while you attempt to sweep with it, or just hit things incredibly hard. And it's even more important to note that a Choice Banded Mach Punch from this guy hits extremely powerfully, and is able to be a great priority move for it to really take advantage of. But running a Choice Scarf set is also just as viable, as you will have access to all of these attacks while also being faster than many of your opponents that Hitmonchan would normally be outsped by, because you have that +1 to your speed stat when you are holding this item. But overall, this set is just another way of possibly running this Pokemon that gives it a little bit more offensive presence outright without having to set up. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on Hitmonchan. Thank you all for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.